Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game So today I got a super fun and super exciting episode for you guys today because I am reviewing the recently released Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I did a video on the demo about this maybe 6 weeks ago or so, and I absolutely fell in love with that demo, so you're taking a look at the full game today because you know full well a new 2D beat 'em up is something I'm always going to review on the channel. When it comes from Dotemu or .mu, depending on how you want to pronounce it, you know you're in for a good time. And honestly, this one right here, outside of a little bit of a performance issue here and there, absolutely nails the brief. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But if you know me and you know the channel, you know I love a good 2D arcade beat 'em up, and Marvel Cosmic Invasion has all of the beat 'em up aspects you need, all of the arcade fun, and more of a console length experience. And that is absolutely going to be something that you're just going to really get into and have fun if you like the genre. And right off the top, you can just see how many different characters you're going to be fighting on screen at once. This game is combo heavy. It's going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at you just to make sure that you have enough to beat up in front of you. And you'll see their aerial juggles are going to be a very big part of the game, as is going to be some branching pathways as well. This one is definitely designed with replayability in mind, and you'll see here right off the top, not even every single character is unlocked, but you're going to get a metric crap ton of characters, so you can kind of decide who you want to play with and who you kind of want to leave behind. Because trust me, every single character has their own unique move set and play style, so you're going to have to identify which one you like and kind of make them your main character, maybe mix and match it a little bit. But if you have played this game already, leave me a comment down below and you tell me who do you like as far as the move set and character design is concerned. As we get back into the gameplay here, the number one thing about this game that you can see right off the top before we get into the mechanics, it is just absolutely visually impressive. This game absolutely just looks incredible in the 2D pixel art department. You have that incredible background with that golden hour sunset, and you just have some massive characters to fight. As far as the presentation on this one, there really isn't anything in the visual department that I would say I'd like to change up whatsoever. It just does really look that good, and for 2025, this might be some of the best pixel art I've seen all year outside of games like Neon Inferno, which I would still say take the top spot. And honestly, that's a good thing because 2025 has been a great year for pixel art, and even though it isn't a lost art as it were, it is something that we don't see all that often anymore, and a lot of times it kind of feels like it's a little bit phoned in, but Marvel Cosmic Invasion 100% not doing that. But honestly, it doesn't matter how pretty of a game this thing is if mechanically it isn't fun to play. The good news is this does absolutely everything you want to beat 'em up to do. Now, I always talk about it in every single video, but hit detection and overall ability to strike your enemy when you feel like you're lined up is so crucially important in a beat 'em up game. You've all played those beat 'em ups before that look really pretty, but you feel like you should be hitting your enemy when you're whiffing your attacks right past them, even though you feel like you have perfect pixel alignment. That is something that's not going to happen here in Marvel Cosmic Invasion. The overall hit detection is spot on, which means that when you're hitting your enemy, all those strikes feel impactful, and when you're missing them, you know it's because you aren't properly lined up and you need to move your character up or down, left or right on the screen. So as far as the overall mechanics of being able to hit your enemy are concerned, something that a beat 'em up crucially needs, this thing is just a straight up 10 out of 10. Now, of course, on the combo front here and the combat in and of itself, you have a metric ton of moves and you have some really nice juggles as well, and I really like that. This kind of feels like a beat 'em up game married together with a fighting game engine where you have more than just your basic kick and punch. Because back in the 90s, a lot of beat 'em up games, even some of my favorites of all time, don't really have the most depth when it comes to the mechanics. They just are really fun 35-40 minute arcade experiences. And you'll see here in the background absolutely luscious visuals, that T-Rex walking behind all the different layers with a Stegosaurus taking a drink of water. Hopefully I got those dinosaurs right. The T-Rex, at least I know, is confirmed. And I would say that the enemy design here as well, 10 out of 10, is borrowing so much from different Marvel properties. Everything is animated well, and I really like how small the sprites look on the screen compared to everything else going on around it, because you're going to have sometimes 6, 8, 10 enemies on screen at once, so the actual scale of them really does work to make this feel like a living, breathing world. Let's move into soundtrack sample 1, get 45 seconds of music, and I'll come back and tell you why the one thing I don't love about this game is actually the soundtrack. But enjoy.
It don't taste bad. Mutant or not, I shall make a feast of you! Use your webs, Motormouth.
Now, I'm not saying that the soundtrack in this game is bad in any way, shape, or form. I actually think it's relatively decent, but the reality is everything else in this game is so incredible that just being a B tier effort on the sound kind of makes it stand out a little bit, because it's one of those things. There's so many iconic tracks from beat 'em ups past that I still hum in my head every once in a while today, and Marvel just really isn't delivering that on this release, which is fine. I'm sure it'll be good for some people, and you can disagree with me down in the comments below, but there really aren't any earworms in this game that are going to get stuck in my head, pun very much intended for the grubs going across the screen. And I will say some of the boss fights in this game is absolutely epic. This sprite, or if it is a 3D polygon converted down into a sprite, not quite sure how they made it, fills the entire screen and gives you so much to see, do, and look at. And that is just absolutely impressive, because we had some big sprites back in the day in beat 'em ups, but now with the technology of 2025 and the hardware, you can really get an absolute insane amount of detail into a scene with real-time lighting and everything else you would want. And as these fists come down, the animations look absolutely superb. So that really is the thing about this game. It is like 99 out of 100% kind of firing on all cylinders for me. I just wish the music was ever so slightly more intense or just a little bit catchier. And of course you are just seeing a one-player playthrough here. Big thanks to Andy D for helping with the captures. But I was playing this game with my wife last night. We were lying in bed in the projector room and basically just having a great time. And that really is the reality of something like this. It is a very easy pick up and play game for people that don't play many beat 'em up, but it has enough depth that if it really is one of your favorite genres, you're going to find a lot to love here too. Because my wife definitely plays games with me, but beat 'em up's not really exactly a genre she goes to all that often, but she was having a fun time. She was being successful, so it really is one of those games that you can incorporate in some other people that aren't huge gamers and they can have fun with as well. Now that we move to the next stage here, I will tell you I'm kind of keeping the back half of the game away from you because I want you to go into this with no spoilers really. And even though the story obviously is kind of rudimentary because it is an arcade style beat 'em up, it is one of those things. The game does have a few surprises, and I'd love for you to organically find those on your own. But as far as the enemy design is concerned, that is something that I absolutely love here. You have these 4 enemy sprites in the background, dead, just burning, and then you have that one fly just going around. Now, I am not the biggest fan of Marvel. I've only ever seen one of the movies, the original Iron Man, and people always find that weird. But it's one of those things. I might not know exactly where every enemy sprite comes from, but I know they look absolutely gorgeously animated on screen, and it really is working out well. And you'll see here as we go into this next phase, this was the one area on Andy D's capture where he had some issues. This game can freeze every once in a while and basically hard crash, but again it's been out for all of about 24 hours at this point in time, so that really isn't surprising. Games will launch with bugs, and he even mentioned that one of the bugs he talked to a developer about is going to be fixed up, so that is the thing. Never expect perfection on day one and you won't be disappointed. Well, we're going to go into the second soundtrack sample now, but you will see here in just a moment the game is going to basically freeze and boot back out to the OBS desktop. So it's one of those things, if this happens to you, you really shouldn't be that surprised. But here comes the next soundtrack sample, and I'll be right back with more.
You're playing my game, and I'm playing it rough. Try harder. It don't taste bad. Adamantium storm.
Is this where the Watcher Falls is?
So I love all the voice clips in the background, but that one track there kind of just reads to me as quote-unquote generic fantasy soundtrack volume 2. And again, it's not like I like saying that I don't love things. You know, I'm a very optimistic person on the channel. It's just that the music kind of doesn't really feel like a tonal match for some of the scenes you're watching. Some of the areas and levels definitely have music that kind of match the vibe. Others just kind of feel almost like library assets. And again, it's one of those things. I feel bad saying that because I know somebody worked on it a very long time. It's just not really hitting for me, pun intended compared to every other aspect of the game. But again, you can go down below and absolutely feel free to disagree with me. This is absolutely just a subjective opinion. But as far as everything else is concerned, this is just the type of beat 'em up I want to keep getting more of. It absolutely takes the glory days of 90s arcade gaming, kind of feels like something Capcom would have made back in the day had they had this technology, and just runs with it in 2025. And as someone who's always talking about retro gaming and loving 2D pixel art, this is absolutely a love letter to that overall design language, and that again is something that just clicks for me. When you marry it to such a good combat engine, when you have such good mechanics and such good movesets, and an absolutely massive roster of characters that I haven't even unlocked 100% of yet, you have a beat 'em up game that is going to have a ton of longevity, and that really isn't something that you usually ever say about the genre of beat 'em ups. And this is the type of game that I hope is genuinely successful, not just with people like me and you, the retro gaming fans that love a good 2D beat 'em up, but also Marvel fans that maybe have never played a 2D game before, or ever even actually played a game in the beat 'em up genre. This is the type of game that's going to appeal to my nephews that are 12 to 14 years old, and even though they haven't really played a single 2D beat 'em up, the Final Fights or Streets of Rage of the world, they are huge Marvel fans and they do love to play video games, so something like this would actually get them into the genre, I feel like. And I often talk about the quote-unquote modern audience, but this game is a good example of how you can actually develop a game that'll appeal both to newcomers as well as deep beat 'em up fans alike. Now, of course, this is definitely going to be a little bit on the easier side on default difficulty, because that just seems to be where the industry is now, games that are ever so slightly easier, but you can dial that up and get a really challenging time here. And of course, because this is multiplayer as well, you're going to have a good time with your friends. Although I'm not sure why that ribeye steak was purple there. I would not recommend you eat purple meat anywhere, especially in space. I'm just highly assuming it's going to do some really bad things to you. But this one is just a straight up 9.5 out of 10 to me, and if the soundtrack was just a little bit more exciting, I would probably give it a straight up 10 out of 10. You leave me a comment down below and you tell me if you've been playing it, what are your thoughts, especially on the soundtrack front, because I would be curious. If you haven't picked this one up yet, I can't recommend it enough. If you're even a small fan of the beat 'em up genre or 2D pixel art, you're going to absolutely love everything this game has to offer. But we're done, I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.